how's it going?
Great, Jessica. How are you?
I'm fantastic. It is a rainy gray day here in Portland.
I love a rainy, gray day. I don't know about you guys out there, but I lived in Belgium for a little while in Brussels, and it was always often rainy, kind of like London weather, and I lived for it. I loved it so much.
Nice, nice. I think a lot of people here get tired of it, but
Yeah,
that's okay.
probably. It's because I come from somewhere where it's sunny every day. So I'm like, rain, gray skies, yay.
All right, guys. So today, we are answering a very interesting student question about pausing on the speaking exam. As I just did, I paused because
The
in
deep breath.
daily life, we pause when we talk. It's natural. So the question is, does that affect our IELTS score?
Yes, and we are going to dive in the speaking rubric, the scoring system. You have likely seen the words hesitation and pause, and maybe you
Mhm.
didn't realize, like, do those mean the same? What is the difference? We're going to tell you today.
Exactly, exactly, because it is confusing.
Yes.
If you're not, like, trained specifically on this very unique exam, how would you know? You
Right?
know because you listen to IELTS Energy. First, let's read that question. Oh, before we read the question, though, I wanna tell you guys, we did an episode about speaking slowly, and we sort of touched on pausing in that episode, so go back and listen to IELTS Energy 1333, Why Slowing Down Gets Higher Speaking Scores, because we also give you a lot of great strategy and tips there for the pace at which we speak that is not pausing, that is not hesitating, and how that is actually a scoring strategy. So go back and listen to Why Slowing Down Gets Higher Speaking Scores. And if you missed that, that probably means you're not following us. So hit follow right now, guys.
Yes. Awesome. That was a great episode. Don't miss it. I will
So good.
read today's question. It's
Cool.
from Shahir. Shout out Shahir, who said, "Hello there. Would pausing in the speaking section of IELTS, more specifically in part 2, still lower my score if it's a content related pause, like as if I am searching for what to say next?" Very good question. I have a feeling
So,
the student has read
yeah,
the speaking rubric and is like, saw that phrase, content related pauses, and is like, what does that mean? What? I
that's
don't understand.
exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yep. I love these very educated questions like this that show the candidate to the student. You guys are doing your best with so much information. You're reading the scoring rubrics, trying to figure out what these definitions mean and how to get the highest scores because it's not obvious. So I'm really glad you guys are working this hard and that Shahir, you could write to us and find out what it means. So let's talk about the rubric first. Now, where does it talk about hesitating and pausing?
Yeah. So for a band 9, you are allowed to have hesitation, but it must be content related. Like Shahir said, you must speak
Mhm.
fluently with only rare repetition or self correction. And then it says any hesitation is content related rather than to find words or grammar. And the examiner can tell if
Mhm.
you are hesitating because you can't think of a word or you're trying to remember the correct grammar, or if it's content related, if you are just deciding what to say next, sort of gathering your thoughts.
Exactly, exactly. So that's at a band 9, guys. And at a band 8, it says speaks fluently with only occasional repetition or self correction. Hesitation is usually content related and only rarely to search for language. So it goes down from there, right? A
Mhm.
band 6 is like, yes, there will be some hesitations. And sometimes they'll be grammar and vocab related, sometimes they're content related, right? So the fewer hesitations you have, and if they are content related, the higher your score will be. The more hesitations you have that are related to vocab and grammar, because you can't find the right word, you don't know the right word, you're unsure about the grammar rule. We can tell, right? So the more
Mhm.
of those hesitations you have, then the lower your score. Now, pausing actually isn't it's not the same as hesitating, right? Pausing, we only see on the rubric at band 4, where it says the candidate cannot answer without noticeable pauses. Now, what is the difference between a hesitation and a pause?
Yeah, a hesitation is more verbal. It's slowing and saying a filler phrase while you're thinking,
Mhm.
whereas a pause is silence, right?
Exactly.
Where you
Exactly.
might say, like, and then there's just a full on moment of silence while
Right.
you're thinking of the word or thinking of that's the difference.
Right. Right. So here's an example of a hesitation, guys. Let's say I'm searching my brain for examples, right? This is content related. So I might say something like, some examples would be, let's see. Oh, I thought of one in my hometown, right? These are all just filler phrases. I'm verbally hesitating. I'm verbally buying time until I figure out what I want to say. But let's compare that with a pause in that same sentence. It would sound like some examples. Okay, and I'm not gonna do more because it is painful,
Right.
honestly, to listen to someone speak like that.
Yeah, you guys don't want to listen to a podcast with us pausing
I know.
constantly. It's
Let's
difficult.
show you what pausing and
Right.
silence sounds like. It's a good audio medium for
Right.
that. All right, so long story short, right? Let's answer this wonderful student's question, and then we'll get into some strategic ways you can hesitate and increase your vocabulary score at the same time.
Yes. So the bottom line, your score goes down whether the pause is content related or natural if it's a pause, right?
Right.
Whereas a hesitation where you're using a filler phrase and thinking through it, that's good. So we're going to share some great filler phrases with idiomatic language to help boost both your vocabulary and fluency scores.
All right, guys. So we are teaching you how to hesitate verbally today to increase your vocabulary score. So remember, guys, pausing, having silence on the speaking exam is never a good thing. But you can hesitate, which is buying time verbally with filler phrases, even at a band 9, right? It's content related. You're searching for ideas. So, Aubrey, what is one thing we can say here?
Yeah. So if you get stuck, you're trying to think of what to say next, even if you're trying to come up with vocabulary or grammar, as long as you're using a filler phrase, the examiner won't know, right? So you could say, I'm not really sure what to say next. I honestly haven't thought about this much before. Shame on me. It's just not something that comes up in regular conversation. I love this shame on me. That's very idiomatic
So
to say this about yourself.
adorable.
I love it.
I just all credit to you, Aubrey, on this. That you wrote this and it's so cute and I love it so much. I would giggle in delight and I would have to stifle my giggle if I heard a student say this because it would be so awesome. Now, think of how much time Aubrey filled just then.
It's a long
None
filler
of
phrase.
that was content related. Like it was all filler phrases.
But
And
it's
it's
all allowed,
totally
even at band
fine.
9, even at band
Yeah.
9, right? Your hesitation where you're talking through a filler phrase, no problem, not pulling down your score.
So just quickly to let you know what shame on me means, it's just a cute way to be like, oh, I am
My
doing
bad.
something bad or I did something bad. Yeah. But it's cute. Aw, shame on me.
Yeah.
I ate ice cream every night last week, or I
And
don't know.
I feel like this is really flexible with the intonation. If you say like shame
Yeah.
on me or shame on me, right?
Mhm.
It's all good. There's not like you're going to use the incorrect intonation and it's going to mean
That's
something
true.
else, which sometimes happens. So this one's more
That's a
flexible.
good point. That's a good point because really it's anytime you're going to use that idiom as a filler on IELTS, it's always going to be tongue in cheek, self
Yes,
deprecating, a way to make fun of yourself and just keep talking, right?
totally.
All right, cool. So here's another way to buy time and verbally hesitate. We could say, this is tricky. I'm actually glad this question came up because this is a fascinating topic and I want to have something to say about it, but I don't want to be behind the times. So I'm glad I'm being forced to think about it. Oh my gosh, that's so long.
It's so long, but I kind of love this. You're narrating
I
your
love it.
thoughts. If it's like, let's say
Exactly.
it's about the environment or, something where you feel you're sort of stumbling, you can't think of what to say next, but you're like, this is an interesting topic. I
Mhm.
should know what to say next.
Right.
You can say all of this. And if you practice it so that you can say all of this without really thinking about it, you're giving yourself so much time to think of that vocabulary, to think of your opinion, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And this is really one of our core strategies is to narrate your thoughts,
Right.
right? We've talked about this on other speaking episodes where we talk about speaking part 2, right? Follow your thought branches. It's fine to go off topic a little bit, right? To dive into a side story, a
Mhm.
side note. This is another version of that, narrating your thoughts. This could be used, for example, let's say you're a candidate who doesn't have children, right? You're not a parent yet, and you don't have really any kids in your life, but you're asked about child education or, how children learn to read these days in your country. Like maybe you really don't know.
This is not
So
something you've thought about a lot.
yeah, exactly. So that's perfect to be like, I don't want to be behind the times. So I'm glad I'm being forced to think about it. So behind the times, it just means other people know about this thing. They're talking about this thing, but I don't.
Right, you're not up to date, you're not up to
Right.
speed on the news, right? This is a great idiom to say, "I don't wanna be behind the times," right? I wanna have something to say. I do wanna point out, I intentionally made these filler phrases quite long, longer than the average filler phrase that we teach. So you'll want to keep in mind, if you said all of this, you might think, "Okay, I'm good now because I've
Yeah.
talked so much." You still have to answer the question.
Yeah.
You can't say all of this filler and then just stop
That's
talking. Like,
that's a good point.
you're buying yourself time to then actually answer the question.
That would be hilarious if someone just, like, memorized one of these and
And that's
just
all they
said it
said.
as an answer and then stopped talking. The examiner would be so confused.
Yeah, I'd be
Um,
like, "Wait, what?"
I wanna add something there because you also said up to speed just now, which is the
Mm.
opposite of behind the times, and we could use that too in this example and just be like, I promise I'm gonna read about this and get up to speed on this topic after today's exam because I honestly don't know about it."
I love that, and then just throw out, like, make a guess, throw out some
Oh
kind of
my god.
opinion,
Say
even if you're
anything.
like, "I realize this is an uneducated opinion, but
Right.
yeah, kids should" what was your example? I can't
Like,
remember.
how do kids learn how to read, right?
Yeah, right, then be like, "Parents should read to kids so that they learn how to read from an example." Bam, you've answered the
Right.
question.
Exactly, exactly. All right, guys, one more. Aubrey, what's the last,
Um,
awesomely long and
long and
wonderful
amazing filler
filler
phrase.
phrase?
All right, here's your last one. Let's see. What else do I think about that? I haven't thought about this recently, so it's a little difficult to decide what I think out of the blue.
Oh, I love it so much. I love that we're, like, asking ourselves questions, like, we're
Yeah,
talking to ourselves on the speaking exam, like, "Let's
totally.
see, what
What
else do I
else
think
do I have
about
to
that?"
say?
I am searching my brain right now for ideas, and maybe it's just because 'cause I'm nervous, but I can't think of any more examples. So, I'm going to choose to terminate my answer here.
Nice. I would love it if you, as an IELTS candidate, said all of this in a speaking answer because, as
Mm,
an examiner, I want to give you the highest possible fluency scores. So, when you narrate your thoughts like this and talk through a filler phrase, hesitation that's perfectly allowed for a
mhm,
band 9 for your
yeah.
fluency score, I'm delighted. I'm like, yay.
Shoot, I would be delighted if I heard a native speaker,
It's true.
say stuff like this. Just hearing you say it, Aubrey, I
It's
was delighted.
delightful.
So here's another callback to one of our strategies we've talked about, guys. If you're having fun on the speaking exam, the examiner's also enjoying themselves, even if they're not allowed to smile and laugh. Even though I could never follow that rule as an examiner, that is a great way to increase your score,
Yes,
right?
they're fighting that smile if you're using these filler phrases. If you're asking yourself questions
Totally.
as you narrate your filler phrase, like, it's
So
gonna be
good.
hard for them to keep that straight face.
So good, so good. I want to give you guys a quick sneak peek of an upcoming episode. When Aubrey and I were researching this episode, um, we found some great speaking part 3 questions regarding animals, and we realized we have not done enough animal topic related episodes. So stay tuned, guys. Next week, we're going to give you some model answers for some really, really tough questions about animals.
Yes. Yeah, these filler phrases will be perfect for these questions because
Yes.
we're going to answer some that you likely haven't thought about and might stump you.
Oh yeah, totally. Might not even know the answer.
Right.
Um, all right, guys. So stay tuned for that next week. That's it for us for now. Hit follow so you don't miss that awesome animal episode. And we'll see you next Tuesday.
Awesome. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.